Coming up in today's video, a seemingly normal mother who invited her guests to lunch, only to serve them food laced with deadly, toxic mushrooms. 3 of them would end up dead, while the woman at the centre of it all spun a web of lies, desperately trying to escape justice. Ready to hear the full story behind the tragic and deadly event that gripped Australia? Okay, let's go. It's July 29th, 2023. Erin Patterson is a 50-year-old mother of 2 living in the small community of Leongatha in Victoria, Australia. She's a valued member of the community, known for her wit and intelligence and her volunteer work editing the village newsletter. A highly respectable woman, you might say. But appearances can be deceiving. She spends the morning preparing a meal for 4 guests, who arrive at her home at 12:30 that afternoon. They include Don and Gail Patterson, the elderly parents of her estranged husband, Simon. Wanting to contribute to the lunch and thank Erin for her hospitality, they bring along an orange cake, a dessert to be shared after the main meal. Also at the lunch are Simon's aunt Heather Wilkinson and her husband, Ian. Unfortunately, or fortunately as events will soon reveal, Simon will not be attending. Although he initially accepted Erin's invitation, he changes his mind at the last minute, telling her he feels uncomfortable. Erin is disappointed but keeps the invitation open, sending him a text that reads, "I hope you'll change your mind." Things have been a bit tense between Eric and Simon lately. Although they've been separated for a few years, their relationship had always remained warm. In fact, they had even continued to take family holidays together. But recently, things have become strained. Disputes over Simon's child support obligations have caused tension, and their relationship has started to sour. To add to Erin's frustration, she is angry that Simon's parents, Don and Gail, appear to have taken his side. She writes to a friend on Facebook, "I'm sick of this shit. I want nothing to do with them." However, with this lunch invitation, it seems like a chance for everybody to put all the animosity behind them and to improve relations again, right? Well, Ian and Heather certainly hope so. Ian later recalled that Heather had been excited that they'd been invited to Erin's home. Still, everybody is surprised at Erin's sudden hospitality. Simon noted that it was very rare for his wife to host people, and both Ian and Heather had never even visited the house before. But here they all are, seated around the table, ready to enjoy the lunch that Erin has spent the entire morning preparing. And what a lavish lunch it is. No expense has been spared. Erin has prepared individual beef Wellingtons made with expensive cuts of fillet steak, each one covered with a generous layer of mushrooms. But unbeknown to the guests, these aren't ordinary mushrooms. They're death caps, incredibly toxic. A single one is enough to cause organ failure. Noticing how busy Erin is in the kitchen, some of her visitors offer to help with the preparation and serving of the meal. Erin refuses. She tells them that she can manage everything alone and insists that she has everything in hand. The meal is soon ready, and Erin begins plating the food for everybody. However, there's something really odd about the way she serves it. The guests all receive their meals on grey plates, while Erin's food is being dished up on an orange one. Heather notices this oddity and wonders why Erin has done this. Eventually, she concludes that it's probably due to a shortage of crockery. No. A 6th serving and some leftovers are placed in the fridge, just in case Simon changes his mind and decides to join them later. They begin to eat. The meal is a success. Everybody raves about how amazing the food is, the subtle sweetness of the mushrooms hiding their true deadly nature. Heather compliments the chef, telling her that the meal is delicious and beautiful. They enjoy the food so much that they end up overeating, joking with one another about how stuffed they feel. In fact, they've eaten so much that they barely have room to enjoy any of the orange cake that Don and Gail bought, and most of it remains untouched. It's been a pleasant afternoon, but Erin is about to drop some unexpected news on her guests. She tells them that she has been diagnosed with ovarian cancer and asks for advice on how best to break this sad news to her children. Everybody is shocked and rallies around her to offer comfort and advice. Ian, a well-known local pastor, leads a prayer for Erin's well-being. But there's no need to pray for Erin. She doesn't have cancer. It's all a lie. Later that afternoon, the meal concludes and the visitors return home. 3 of them will die within a week. That evening, the guests all start showing symptoms of poisoning. As the evening progresses, their conditions deteriorate throughout the night. The following morning, all 4 of Erin's visitors rush to the local hospital for urgent medical help. Don tells medics that he's vomited almost 30 times in the space of only a few hours. With all 4 of Erin's visitors sick in the hospital, they wonder about the fate of their host. Surely, after eating the same food, she must also be showing these symptoms too. But Erin is not at the hospital. It's been a few days since the meal, and Erin's visitors have grown increasingly sick. It's only now that Erin makes her first appearance at the hospital. She reports that she's feeling a little unwell and experiencing some diarrhea. Given how sick the others are, medics urgently encourage Erin and her children, who have eaten some of the leftovers, to seek immediate treatment. Erin refuses. A doctor at the hospital suspects mushroom poisoning and warns Erin that she may have been exposed as well. Despite this, 5 minutes later, Erin discharges herself. The doctor is so concerned that he calls police to see if they can encourage her to get treatment. Eventually, she relents and agrees to an examination. Erin shows no symptoms of poisoning. However, as a precaution, she is admitted to the hospital for 24 hours, and after showing no signs of illness, she discharges herself the following day. Erin has left the hospital, but the situation for the others is now critical. Their initial sickness and diarrhea has progressed to organ failure, and on August the 1st, they are placed into induced comas. Thankfully, after several weeks in hospital, Ian survives. However, the other 3 are not so fortunate. On 4th of August, both Gail and Ian's wife, Heather, die. Don dies the following day. It's been only 7 days since they'd sat down to enjoy their meal. It's November 2023, 3 months since the deadly lunch. Erin is arrested. At first, she's cooperative with the investigation, handing over her phone and computers. It's discovered that she owned a second phone back in July, but this has never been recovered. Although Erin attempted to wipe the contents off her phone before handing it over, forensic experts are able to retrieve the deleted information. And it's this information that will soon lead detectives closer to the truth. Questioned about the source of the mushrooms, Erin insists she bought them from a nearby grocer. But she can't remember the name of the shop, and authorities find no traces of its existence. Asked if she's ever foraged for mushrooms, she tells the police that she hasn't. But that too is a lie. An inspection of her internet search history reveals that she has visited websites identifying 2 nearby locations where death cap mushrooms have been spotted growing. Investigators then trace the movements of her phone and find that she has actually in fact visited both locations. Then there are questions about the mushrooms themselves. Erin insists that she's never prepared mushrooms, instead saying that the poisoning must have resulted from contamination within the mushrooms she bought from the grocer. There are multiple pieces of evidence that contradict her claims. A search of her home reveals an instruction manual for a mushroom dehydrator hidden in a kitchen drawer. And just one day after she discharged herself from the hospital, CCTV from the local tip captures Erin discarding a mushroom dehydrator. The device is recovered, and forensic analysis reveals traces of death cap mushrooms inside. Erin has also been boasting on Facebook pages about how she's used the device. An absolute mountain of evidence has been obtained that contradict her story about having never prepared mushrooms herself. But there's more. Further inspections of the phone reveal deleted images of death cap mushrooms being weighed on kitchen scales, visual proof that she has been handling them. Before she is taken into custody, Erin returns home to find herself swamped with reporters. Tearful, she makes the following confession.
And Gail's never been anything but good and kind to me. And Ian and Heather were some of the best people I've ever met. They never did anything wrong to me, and I'm so devastated about what's happened.
If you'd like to check out that full video, you can find the link in the description below. You'll notice a whole load of crying, but very few, if any, tears. Erin is eventually taken into custody, and the trial for the 3 murders and 1 attempted begins in April 2025. The case captures national attention, with some in the Australian media branding it the trial of the century. Throughout the trial, Erin insists she is not guilty. She admits that she initially lied to police about having never foraged for mushrooms before. She now tells the court that she actually has, and claims that the deadly mushrooms she'd picked must have accidentally ended up in the container with the store-bought ones. Asked why she's lied about this in the past, Erin says it's because she was scared that she was going to be blamed for the deadly accident. Erin is then asked another crucial question. Why didn't she get sick like her visitors? This is where she lies again. She tells the courtroom that after her guests had left, she ate some of the orange cake, then some more, and more again, eventually eating so much food that it tipped her over the edge, and she emptied the full contents of her stomach into the toilet, thus preventing the poison from entering her system. Nobody was fooled. The trial lasted 9 weeks, and Erin was found guilty on all charges. She is due to be sentenced shortly. At the conclusion of her trial, the sole survivor, Ian, said, "She just seemed like an ordinary person." So that is the story behind how Erin Patterson used toxic mushrooms to poison her dinner guests. Do you have any thoughts on today's video? Did you hear something new, or is there something that's perhaps been missed out? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found the video interesting, I'd be grateful if you could like it, as it will help YouTube serve it to more people. And if you're interested in true crime content, then please have a think about subscribing, as I'll be posting more videos like this in the future. Until then.